Hello, my name is Michael O'Keefe, aka The Movie Wist. If you enjoy this interview and want to hear more top-notch film industry conversations, please press the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell to stay in the know. Lloyd Kaufman, thank you for making the hilarious and insightful film Shakespeare Shitstorm. Tell my audience about the meaning of the title.
Hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm. The hashtag is because half of the major there are two major themes, and
Right.
One of them is this bullshit on the in the ether, all this cancellation society and accusing people without and convicting them and lynching them figuratively without any fair, without due process. So we have a wonderful senator who was kicked out of the senator for something, a silly photograph, basically.
Yeah.
That was it. That's what he did 20 years ago or whatever. And he was a dedicated public servant. In fact, one of my daughters who started Kit Split, which is a peer-to-peer equipment, it's like an Airbnb for equipment. It's a great platform. You can get your equipment rented there, or if you need, all the equipment we used on hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm came from kitsplit.com. So the hashtag is supposed to reflect the fact that we're living in this age of bullshit, hashtag bullshit. And it's a mistake. I shouldn't have put the hashtag because I don't think you can have a website with hashtag. I think you can't, I think there's a lot of technical reasons that the hashtag title is awful. And then, of course, Shitstorm, which I insisted upon against everybody's wishes. I didn't want to put an asterisk in it. If you guys want to put an asterisk, I got no objection. I mean, I don't like it, but that also probably is something that people may find offensive. But I am very sorry. On CNN, I hear the word shit. I hear the word shit on NBC regular television. I hear the shit on news. I hear the music channels say shit. So why can't I say a shitstorm? Maybe the word storm is not right. I don't know. Anyway, so the hashtag signifies my disenchantment with the cancellation world. The hashtag, Me Too is great. It's changed a lot. But unfortunately, a lot of third-rate bloggers trying to make their own reputations try to go after people unfairly and with no evidence. Have you heard of Ain't It Cool News? Yes. They canceled him. Now he's a big fat guy in a wheelchair. Now maybe he did something gross. The article didn't seem to say anything about that he raped anybody. So I put on something online about it looks like these women are the Bernstein and Woodward. Yeah, Woodward and Bernstein of Twitter, and all sorts of shit piled on me from these phonies. I suggested, where's the evidence? And then I put up a little piece of video from the McCarthy days when the McCarthy hearings were going on, and McCarthy was the same kind of thing. You were guilty until proven innocent. He wasn't innocent until proven guilty. And there's a famous 10-second video where a general says to McCarthy during the hearings at the Senate of the United States, "Have you no decency? Have you no manners, sir?" It's a very famous. So I put that up with a little bit of satirical text on Twitter, and oh boy, I got into a lot of shit. And James Gunn helped me get out of it a little bit. But the fans were the main ones. The fans immediately pounced on there were two third-rate bloggers full of shit and who did have followers who were going after me, but my fans went after them. And one of them said, "Yeah, I saw the guy in the wheelchair. I saw Harry Knowles do something 25 years ago. I saw it." So one of our fans named Fire Herpes said, "Well, if you saw something, why didn't you do something? If you saw something, why didn't you say something?" And then the fans started piling on him, and he didn't like it so much. And then the guy, the main third-rate blogger, got piled on by fans, and then he said, "Oh, it looks like Lloyd's paid PR people are out to get me." They were just fans. And then he said, "Oh, Lloyd's driven me back into the dark place, like he's a victim of manic depression or something, and my fault." He started it. He lynched this poor fat guy who changed the world. He created Ain't Cool News. Whether he was, he may have been seduced by the major studios and sold out a little bit, but he changed the whole world of journalism, peer-to-peer journalism. Right? He got this. He got Disney movies reviewed with truth, not with advertising money. He had fans sneak up into the projection rooms, and he got so important that De Niro, I read, so who knows if it's true, and people like De Niro were bringing this guy to their sets, on the junkets, because he was so powerful. It was people power, and then so he got canceled by one article. And the thing that really pissed me off is these women, or this woman, was so proud of 2 weeks of work. I worked 2 weeks on this. Woman, I worked 2 years on hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm. 2 weeks. Oh my God. So anyway, I'm overdoing it. I apologize.
No,
but
it's always fun.
And Yale University has become the home of the SOJs. If you go online, you can see a mob of politically correct students going after a Nobel Prize-winning scientist who has written a best-selling book. On top of that, whose wife is a prominent professor, and attacking them because the wife had written an open letter taking issue with Yale sending an email to all the community, all their students, telling them what is recommended for Halloween. Don't appropriate anything. Don't wear a Mexican hat. Don't wear Chinese braids. Right. So that's where the Mexican hat came from in my movie. Right? I had Charlie Rose try to have some fun with Cinco de Mayo, and he gets canceled for that.
But they missed his message. He had an important message. He was exposing Big Pharma, and they just focused on the hat. I mean,
and nobody cared. Nobody cared. It was all about the Mexican hat, right?
Yeah.
Right. The big protest after that. The people are appropriate. Somebody's right. I love the line about I masturbated to a Japanese woman. Right. Is that appropriating Japanese pornography? At any rate, the big pharma is, and you saw the opening commercial for Safe Spacia. It's big pharma and the social justice warriors who need their safe spaces. And my daughter Lily Hayes Salzberg wrote and directed that commercial. And a lot of people, a lot of the whole movie is fan fueled. Everybody in that film is a fan. The leads don't get paid very much.
What I like about this movie is you look at people who are overly politically correct, online, but you're really punching up against big pharma, and I would love, and all Satan worshipers, right? And I would love to hear about your interactions with the 1% in America. And Lloyd, how are they always able to win? How they always sell out the country and they always win?
There is a documentary called The American Ruling Class. It's been blacklisted. My youngest daughter, Charlotte, was one of her first jobs. It's brilliant, and it shows you how the American system works, how the Council on Foreign Relations, which has Rockefellers and Kissingers, and it's the power elite, and they'll focus on, hey, there's a black guy, and he's reasonably good looking, he speaks well, we're going to make him, and he will become part of the American ruling class. And that's how they win. They keep the elite. They keep the elite. They keep changing the rules. The movie industry is a perfect example. When I began, I could set up my own little studio, and there were at least 30 other movie studios, independent, that had existed prior to me and doing very nicely. One of them was American International Pictures, run by Sam Arkoff and whatever the dead guy, I can't remember his name. And Roger Corman came out of there and started his own independent movie studio. And so I started one with Michael Hers in 1974, and you could do it. There was a room for competition, and now all the laws that have been there to protect monopoly have been done away with, and all the laws that have been there to protect the public from brainwashing are gone. And unless you have a lot of money, you can't break into the American market with a toothpaste. You can do it, but it's going to be put out in the back shelves, right? So bit by bit, trauma has been pushed deeper and deeper into the weeds. The movie theaters used to not be allowed to be controlled by the cartel, by the oligopoly, by the major studios. Now they can be. Now they can be bought by them. They can be controlled by them. All the rules that protected the public against the monopolization of the theaters are gone. The television, the syndication, financial syndication rule was done away with in Washington. So now there is no independent television production that you very little of it, unless it's birthed through the homogenization of one of the giant companies or distributed by one of the giant companies. Now Netflix and Amazon, Amazon and are in the movie making business. So it's all started baby food. It's all baby food, homogenized committees. It's everything art shouldn't be. But unfortunately, the vice is there's fewer places for us to go. We're like the elephants. When I was in Chad, I spent a year doing service in Chad and teaching. And there were elephants all over the goddamn place. Now 95% of the elephants that were there are gone. And not to mention thousands of other species and plants and things. So we're like that. We're gone. We're going to be gone. I'm the only one left. Not I, Michael Hers and I. Troma's the last dodo bird on the beach. They've all been, the New Zealand explorers have all crushed them to death. So that's kind of the situation. And luckily our fans support us. So, we're able to scrape by. I know damn well our movies are better than anything on, not anything, but 90% of the major releases. I know that the ratings are better on Killer Tomatoes, Rotten Tomatoes than most films. I know that we have a huge fan base, but slowly but surely we don't exist. The Netflix deals that are offered to us, you wouldn't take for anything. The Amazon is pigs. Not only do they censor the independents, but they're constantly like YouTube. They demonetize and have a different set of community standards for the independents than for the majors. So is it any wonder that so few independent movie studios? And the independent movies that you do see I don't think there are too many that are really independent. These movies that play at Sundance, they're not financed by. They usually come out through Netflix now or big companies. The big companies, Sundance isn't taking any independent movies. They haven't. They call them independent. So it's the whole world of the whole word independent is bogus. So and certainly nobody's going to help a white Jewish senile old bitter manic depressive person. So they're excused from not helping me. But the government of Canada encourages independent filmmaking. They give them money and, like slacks, they give them all these movie theaters. And good for slacks. But the United States doesn't do any of that. The United States gives all the benefits, the tax benefits, the limited partnership benefits, the shelter benefits. They don't work unless you're making movies for millions of dollars. So the independent is totally shut out. I'd love you to find some other Tromas, but we're the last one.
All right. So
even though, where did James Gunn come from? Troma. Trey Parker came from
Romeo and
Troma.
Juliet.
Yeah, your guys from Canada, the guys who made Father's Day, Canadian.
Yeah.
They started with us. Nobody else
Yeah.
gave them any money. We did. But the U.S. government does nothing, absolutely nothing and that's the problem with the elites. The little people have no way to rise. Rising expectations. If you study history, that's what the Russian Revolution was all about. If your rising expectations aren't met, there's going to be riots. And what do we have right now? We got riots. A lot of our community is black and brown, and they even their falling expectations haven't been met. And of course, if you're an independent of any color, it's much harder. The guy who invented the window wiper, he was in his 30s, and he sued Ford. It took him until he was 84 to get Ford to admit that they owed him a few bucks. So 84 years old, he could go to a lot of strip joints.
Oh my, I really enjoyed your performances in this movie. And to me, you were like John Huston or Orson Welles just in a sleazy movie. Were you channeling those guys, or is that just like, am I projecting?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Orson Welles, without a doubt. I mean, I relate to him. The poor bastard, he made the greatest film ever made, arguably the best film in history. Yeah. And the suits ruined him, right? Yeah. I imitated his cocktail party shot in the Magnificent Ambersons in Terra Firma. I failed. I had to chop it up. Okay. But it's one of the greatest shots of all time. Even now with the portable cameras and all that, it's still one of the greatest shots. It could have been a great movie. Robert Wise, the Sound of Music guy, nice guy, but he's the one that he and others
conspired.
Sabotaged. Yeah, he got fired. Robert Wise edited Citizen Kane and then decided he wanted to climb on Wells's back and become a director or whatever, move up the food chain. And so poor Orson Welles. I mean, really, what a sad career. It's awful. It's sad. So I can understand it. Although I'm no Orson Welles, I'll tell you that.
But you have a lot of presence in the movie.
Way up there.
But you have a lot of presence, and it reminded me of Orson Welles and John Huston.
Well, thank you. What a compliment. That's better than an Oscar. You can buy an Oscar. Your words are words of appreciation and love of our art. Thank you. Honestly, it's very hard to get old people to work for very little money. Mm-hmm. Because if they're old, they've already joined a union where they get big money. Mm-hmm. And they get health and they get all that crap. We're in the underground, so we pay very little. And if an old person is any good, he's going to already have joined the union and will be frightened to work in one of our movies. And if he stinks, we don't want him. And so I suck less than the old people who are available to me. You can see in other Troma movies, Toxic Avenger, Class of Nukem High, Terra Firma, you can see older people, and they're shitty. They're funny. Because they're so crappy, you can have some fun with them, because Troma breaks the fourth wall anyway. Our movies our movies are so ambitious, and we have so little money that you can see backstage very often, and our fans rather like that. And I'm a big fan of Bertolt Brecht. I kind of do it on purpose. Warhol used to turn to the camera and say, "Andy, I'm hungry. I want to eat lunch." His actor would do that, and Warhol would leave it in the film. So I put in stuff like that. I like the actors, and Shakespeare did it all the time, right? I got it probably from Shakespeare, although Brecht and the guy who did Our Town, Thornton Wilder, right? Always breaking the fourth wall. So not always, but doing it beautifully. So I'm big on that stuff. But Prospero, I wanted to wait till I was old. I didn't want to make it when it was Romeo and Juliet time. One, I couldn't imagine we'd find a Prospero. And two, I wanted to have his head when I was going to make it. And the fact that you appreciated my performance, you must have felt some of the melancholy of getting old. And he loses his power. I'm losing brain, and I had a knee replacement, that kind of stuff. And clearly losing power. we've been crammed way down into the reeds of the underground because we can't break through the hymen of the mainstream anymore. So I've lost my domain and been kind of deep in the roots of underground Tromaville. And Prospero is involved with magic, and I make movies. That's magic. So, and there's a monster in it. I take a lot of drugs. It's the druggiest of Shakespeare's plays. It's my favorite Shakespeare. It's my favorite one. And I thought I'm really going to try to take it seriously. And other than, Terra Firma, I did play the old guy in Terra Firma.
You're the director, yeah.
Yeah, and Debbie Rashan helped my acting. Will Keenan helped me with the acting. And I've acted in 400 movies. I mean, it's before #Shakespeare's Shitstorm. I acted in Rocky. I had a pretty good cameo. And John G. Avildsen, the Oscar winner, showed me how to play drunk. And so I got that from him on set.
Nice.
I've got a fair amount of experience with it. But the main thing is I suck less than other old people. And I probably, honestly, I know more about Shakespeare than Leonardo DiCaprio and the guy from Australia.
Yeah.
What a piece of crap that was. Very beautiful for 13-year-old ignorant people, but I can't imagine they knew anything about Shakespeare. Patrick Stewart, was he in that? Whoever played the monk, he got it. You could tell, and he was he was understood what he was saying. But Romeo and Juliet, all of the people in it knew Shakespeare, had studied Shakespeare, and had spent a lot of time rehearsing. So Romeo and Juliet, people cry at the end, even though it promotes incest.
Yes, it does. Lloyd, I want to thank you for making this modern classic, which is now my favorite movie by you, dethroning classic Nukem High. Better than Nukem High. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
If you can, check out Troma now, watch.troma.com, or any of your followers could please support Troma. It's been around for 4 years. There's about 1,000 movies, music videos, documentaries, comic books, and you can read the comments. People talk to each other. I think in a year from now, it'll probably be a good dating platform. Tune in, and it's free the first month, and then only 5 loonies a month, cheap. So, and you help the last of the independent movie companies, and it's great. Troma Now is terrific. It's fantastic.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.